I'm Sonia Relia, a foundation educator, innovator, and just somebody who has been searching for a method which would work with limited budgets in any kind of a classroom. And this was my dream 34 years back when I felt that I want to change my classroom. There was no Google to help us, and we did not really have that many funds. So I developed a program called KINOLEARN. I used a lot of colors for kinesthetic learning, for imagination, for movement, and worked with a methodology and later developed kinophonics using a similar methodology to create learning walls for phonics as well. Now, how does this methodology work? It works with very simple stationery that you have around the school, normally in premises, and 10 by 10 and 10 by 20 centimeter cards. Why these particular sizes? Well, an A4 size paper, if it is cut into 6 parts, it gives you an approximate 10 by 10 centimeter. If you cut it into 3 parts, you get a 10 by 20 centimeter. That means optimizing every bit of paper that I have available with me and reusing it in multiple ways. Not only for display, with pockets, with movable resources, walls for reading, phonic walls, the same thing can get converted into the Hindi Varnmala wall later, or, the attendance walls, just to have dynamic classrooms. And when we see charts or we see flashcards, we see one letter and we see all the pictures on one card. But it does not create a dynamic classroom. Whereas if I have an uppercase and matching the lowercase, then finding the core, symbol, and then the symbol searching for the other pictures, I can involve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 children in one activity at one time. I can mix up the letters and I can, call out a sound and say, okay, why don't you all come to me? So I can create a whole group working, I can create grouping, sorting, sequencing. I can do beautiful stories. For example, you have the story of the duckling and the chick keeps copying the duckling all the time. And I want to do this out of puppets, and I want all my 40 children to have puppets. How am I going to afford it? I'm going to tell you exactly how. The 10 by 10 centimeter KINOLEARN card, you fold it, you simply cut it. Now, what happens is because you're used to one kind of a proportion, you know exactly how many cards you would need to make 40 puppets. That means I need just 10 cards to make 40 chicks. Now, any school can afford this material, any school. So, therefore, when I developed KINOLEARN and later KINOPHONICS, my focus was not that every material you want, you should go and buy it. It is that if you want different kinds of material, how can you create it with the simplest of resources? So, you have your 4 chicks and you have your 4 ducks, and then you can paste them on sticks like this, and every child can manipulate a duckling and a chick. You can use this for sorting, you can use it for counting, you can use it for patterns like a duck, duck, and a chick, chick. There's so many things you can do with material like this. You can use it for addition, you can use it for subtraction, you can use it for more, you can use it for less. So, one material which actually just took 10 10 by 10 orange cards and 10 10 by 10 yellow cards. Look at the range of activities you create with it. And that was the whole vision of KINOLEARN, which got translated into, processes and then books, a series called My Learning Train, which got 5 years of foundation, and it's got resources so that the teacher doesn't have to go looking for the resources. And we have used 2 sizes of cards so that we have it very, very precise in terms of calculation of paper, the amount of money a school spends on stationery, and how it can be leveraged. For example, even something like a finger puppet is a 10 by 10 centimeter card. You fold it, paste it, and actually can do all your blends, your CBC words, and also you can make it so beautiful that you can manipulate it and change the first sound or change the middle sound or the last sound. So the whole vision of KINOLEARN is not to tell the teacher go buy this, but have some basic material, have some basic setup in the classroom and use it. We've given a lot of printed material. So in My Learning Train, we have more than 15, 1600 flashcards, which are of different topics for different resources and a list of activities, somewhere where you can make display, somewhere where you can have puppets, you can have sight words, reading wall, your entire phonics, divided into 8 learning trains. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is just so much more to explore. And why do I keep to these sizes? For example, I have a story of, a capseller and a monkey. It's divided into 6 parts. And just after we finish the story, all I do is give the children six, you know, cards to put into a sequence. So if I do like 50 stories, I can do 50 sequencing. So why should I make, packages where one story is there with all 40 children? I would rather give the teachers 40 stories to work in her classroom and pass it on to another classroom. Because that, unless we do collaboration, unless we work, it just will not let the number of activities we want come into the classroom. So, realistically, this is what works so beautifully. Now, coming to the children's flashcards, when the children are working on the table, imagine if the children have such big flashcards and we want them to perhaps make a sequence of an A to Z, or we want them to match pictures, or we want them to use a picture on a book. How can we make such big cards manipulatable by children? Therefore, the cards that are on the children's tables are smaller, again in proportion to the 10 by 10. So if you fold a 10 by 10 into 4, you get the size of 5 by 5. And this becomes a very, very simple way for children to work on their tables. We must remember, if there are children, 2 children sitting on a table or 4 children sitting on the table, there is not more than 16 by 14 inches or a 14 by 12-inch space for them. And that is where the material should fit in and the children should be able to manipulate it. And that, with that vision, we have kept to a certain size. So you see how your display work works, or if you can see the way our reading wall works. So even within this size of resources, we can create hundreds of activities. And that is the vision of KINOLEARN, KINOPHONICS, and My Learning Train. So I do hope that, and another one little lovely idea which I thought I must share with you is that, so suppose I want to make puzzles. We keep buying such expensive puzzles for children. So I get the children to color the, pictures. So maybe 35, 40 children color 35, 40 different pictures. And the first time I simply cut the puzzle into two. Now, how do I know that this is one part of the puzzle? I just number each card that I cut. So if I have one into 2 parts, so I will put one on both the parts. So I know this is puzzle number 1. And then I know this is puzzle number 2. And I could cut it into a different structure. And then I know this is puzzle number 3. So all I do is I take a little indicator and I put an indicator there, because the adult takes care of managing this material. So they know that the ones will be given to one child, the twos will be given to the second child. And then the children can exchange cards. So you can do group work. Now you want to make it more complex. So after the children work with 2-piece puzzles, you can easily take it and cut it into 4-piece puzzles. And then all the 4 pieces will have 2 written on it. Or you can put it into a small little bag, or a small container, and keep working on puzzles like this. So when I started working with this material, I didn't stop at one kind of an activity. I just wanted it to be like a range of activities. Suppose you want to do smileys, you can do the attendance, you can do the moods and feelings, you can do, families, and so on and so forth. So for anyone who's asking me, what does KINOLEARN work with? Well, it works with a very, very specific size so that there is no wastage of paper. and there is a complete calculation of how much space a classroom wall has for display. So sharing this little video for all of you to just understand KINOLEARN and KINOPHONICS better. Thank you.